really shallow stuff, Mother. How can you waste your time reading it?
Well, I find it pleasant these warm days. It's light and frivolous, to be sure, but it serves to while away the hours.
While away the hours. That's because your mind is inactive. Now, what you mean is a vital purpose.
Stop right there, my dear Lucy. I suffered from an overdose of your vital purposes when you were my daughter, and I had to submit to keep peace in the family. But now that you are Mrs. Drayton, I rebel.
Well, I'm still your daughter, Mother, unless you've disowned me.
Indeed, I haven't. But I'm determined to shun your stern principles. They're too rigorous for a lazy old lady.
You're nothing of the kind. Except if you're going to read something, why don't you read something worthwhile? Have you looked over the new copy of the Radical Monthly I loaned you? The Crash?
No. My brain perspired at the sight of it.
You're incorrigible, Mother. You really should read it. Well, there's a wonderful new poem by Gabriel.
Now, Lucy, you know that I think Gabriel's poetry is, well, unmentionable.
Well, that's blind prejudice. You don't like Gabriel, so you won't see the beauty of his work on that account.
Have it your own way, my dear. As you say, I don't like him overmuch. I can't imagine for the life of me why you find anything interesting about this man.
You don't understand him.
Well, perhaps not. Certainly I don't understand why he should be always hanging around here. You never used to see much of him, did you?
I used to run into him at the square quite frequently.
Where did you first meet him?
Well, Leo introduced us. He and she have a studio together.
And I suppose they're living together?
Yes, they do. In free comradeship.
Hmm.
Don't be bourgeois, Mother.
Oh, I wasn't belittling their morals. They're free to do as they please, of course. I was thinking of Leo. I like her quite well. And I didn't think she had such bad taste in the matter of companions.
Mother, I don't...
Oh, here you are. Well, this is an unexpected pleasure, Mother.
Mwah.
I didn't think I'd find you out here.
It was so warm and sunshiny, I just couldn't bear to remain in the city.
Bully up here, isn't it? I don't regret the half-hour train ride. One breath of this air after all those sultry streets puts new life into you. Hey, Lucy?
Yes, it's very nice.
Well, you don't say that as if you meant it. Do you know, Mother, I think Lucy still pines for those stuffy studios of Greenwich Village.
You're mistaken.
Well, I can hardly believe that of her. Anyway, she can motor in whenever she feels homesick. She has the car. You seem hardly ever to use it.
No, that's Lucy's plaything. The old train's good enough for a hard-working businessman who can't afford to take chances on blowouts.
But you used to be such an enthusiastic motor fiend.
Marriage has had its sobering effects. I'm less frivolous.
I suppose you forgot to pick up the tickets I asked you to get for the concert this afternoon?
Do I ever forget anything you ask me?
No. I simply wanted to know if you'd picked them up.
I sure have. Just to prove I'm a man of my word.
Thank you. Well, what time does the concert start?
2:30, I think. We'll have to leave a little before 2 if we're going to make it on time. Oh, got to look over these papers. I should have enough time before lunch.
It's ungrateful of you to be blue on a beautiful day like this.
I don't like this weather that's so sunshiny and glaring. Nature makes too vulgar a display of its kind intentions. Besides, my mood can't be healed by this weather. My blue devils lie deep within my soul.
Don't you like it out here anymore? You seemed so enthusiastic when you first came.
That's because I knew it's what Tom wanted. Well, I'd never had the experience before, so how was I to know?
Experience? Well, you've only been here 3 weeks.
But that is long enough to realize. Well, besides, it doesn't matter where I am. The conditions are the same. I feel cramped in and mortally bored.
Ever since you saw that play the other night, you've done nothing but talk and act Hedda Gabler. So I suppose there's no use trying to argue with her.
I'm not talking Hedda Gabler. I'm simply telling you how I feel. Although, I must admit, General Gabler's pistols do have their fascination.
Oh, tut-tut, Lucy, you're too morbid today. You'll be longing next for someone to come with vine leaves in his hair.
Perhaps he will come.
Well, it won't be our friend Gabriel, to be sure. I'm certain he's one of your precise modern poets who drowns his sorrows in unfermented grape juice and goes in for scientific eating, counts his calories and proteins over 1 by 1, so to speak.
There's much more to Gabriel than you'll ever understand.
As Leonora said to Tom once.
Well, what did she say?
Well, she began by saying she was attracted to him physically. Imagine! Tom was flabbergasted. He hardly knew her at that time.
Well, she is rather rude.
No, it would have been impossible in anyone else. Leonora has a way with her. Tom didn't mind, but then she made it worse. She said he had more to him than he dreamed of, and she was determined to find it out.
Well, perhaps she will.
I think Tom was inclined to regard her as a freak at first, but he likes her quite well now. Does she come out here often?
Yes, quite frequently. With Gabriel.
Leonora's a charming free spirit.
She gets on my nerves at times now and bores me with her chatter.
I thought you and she were... Well, this is one of your days, Miss Hedda Gabler, to be bored with everything and everybody.
Do stop calling me Hedda Gabler, Mother. I don't see what it has to do with it. And besides, Leo wearies me with her silly chatter of the great blonde beast.
That's what she said Tom reminded her of.
Well, she's imaginative.
Ever since you got back from your honeymoon, you have fallen back into the old morbid rut again.
I'm not being morbid. Is it morbid to look the truth in the face? I suppose I was never meant to be a housefrau, and I should have never allowed myself to be married when all of my instincts were against it.
You act like you feel like you were bullied into being married.
Yes, you did bully me into marrying. You and Father and Tom were all so set on it. What was I supposed to do? Well, now, oh, I want air. I want freedom to long and dream beyond all of these deadly commonplaces.
Seems to me you're perfectly free to do as you please.
Do you call this freedom? This bourgeois paradise?
I certainly call it as beautiful a home as anyone could wish for.
I don't want a home. I want space to grow in.
I believe all this talk of yours comes from your association with Gabriel.
A real sympathetic human being who comes into this household. Well, he's the only one who can talk to me in terms of the things I love. You and Tom will take me for granted.
Sure, we try our best to be sympathetic, dear. Now let's not talk about it anymore. The humidity's too oppressive for argument. Let's go out into the garden for a while.
I can only stay a moment, Mother. I'm expecting Leo and Gabriel at any minute. I invited them out to lunch before I knew about the concert this afternoon. Gabriel has promised to read me some of his new poems.
I'd like to hear them if I may. You see, I'd like to know Gabriel more intimately. I'm afraid, after what you've told me, I must be wrongly prejudiced against him.
I assure you, you are, Mother.
Oh, how beautiful everything looks. Let's walk around back underneath those lovely shady maple trees.
Now I ask you, why didn't you bring, you impossible person?
Oh, I don't need to. I belong with the Lauries and Penates of this house. In fact, I am them. I am more than they are. I am the great god, persona grata.
There isn't a soul here.
I quite agree with you. If there is one thing this home could harbor without fear of overcrowding, it's a soul.
I say, why do you trot out here so much then?
You have the naivete to ask me that.
Give me a drink. And yes, I do ask you that.
You who are aware of the asininity of editors and the emaciated condition of my form and purse. You whose cooking will eventually make a Carlyle out of me.
I don't pretend to be a cook?
Because the most unworldly stomach would see through such a pretense. No, my adored Leonora. Your cooking is very much akin to your painting. Difficult to absorb.
You know nothing at all about painting.
But I have a sensitive appreciation where true art is concerned, Leo. My own. And as I have told you so many times, your paintings are rubbish.
And your verse is nonsense.
You're speaking of something you're too small of soul to understand.
I understand the beauty of real poetry. That's why I've always told you your stuff is only sentimental journalism.
What? Your opinion is worthless. No, by God. It's even flattering, considering the source.
It's worth as much as your criticism of my art.
Your art? Good heavens, do you call that stuff art?
Conceited ass.
Idiot.
Fool.
Imbecile.
Bourgeois rhymester.
Oh, have the last word, you little
Now I ask
simpleton.
you, what are you doing with that glass? This isn't our place. You can't work out your rage by smashing things here.
I won't endure this relationship a moment longer.
Ah, you've said it before. Go then, ta-ta. You know no one else would put up with you, and you can't take care of yourself.
Again,
Shall I ring and have the maid clean that up for you?
I don't desire menial service. It's abhorrent to my love of freedom.
So I've observed. Certainly there haven't been any menials around the studio since I arrived.
Oh,
Now don't fly off into another tantrum, Gabe.
don't call me Gabe. It's vulgar and it makes me ridiculous. How often must I tell you?
Very well, Gabriel. Now I ask you, wasn't that a lovely brawl?
Well, it's over. For today, at any rate. You know what we swore to each other.
Only one row a day.
What if the Philistines had heard us? Will they perish with the rapture of a revelation? At last, Bohemia.
We must be careful. The dignity of free love is at stake. If they knew...
But shh! Someone will hear you. You want to ruin us? Remember the high cost of eating.
Where are they all, I wonder? More important, where's lunch? I'm hungry as a tiger. How is your affair coming along with Lucy, the blessed damsel?
Too well.
I noticed she's been cool to me lately. You must have been making love to her.
I haven't. I've simply been reading my poems. But I am afraid the time has come to be prosy.
Poor Lucy. I like her so much, but she's such a nut.
She's exceeding fair to look upon, at least, and that's something. If she only knew the wisdom of silence, the charm of vocal inaction in the female, but no, I must listen to all her brainstorms. It's a bit thick, you know? She's just been to see Hedda Gabler for the nth time. She's obsessed by it. So I have to play the drunken gentleman with the vine leaves in his hair, or whatever his name is.
If she had seen you on some of your nights, she wouldn't doubt your ability to fill the bill. I'm afraid she's becoming quite impossible, though. Ibsen, in this advanced age. Imagine a modern husband living with an old-fashioned Ibsen woman. I begin to pity the blonde beast.
Now there you're wrong. After all, with all her fits, Lucy is delightful. I see nothing in her husband but an overgrown clod.
Ah, so? You don't know him. There's more than you dream of beneath his boyish exterior.
How do you know? You haven't been flirting with him, have you?
Perhaps. Attend to your own love affairs, and I'll attend to mine.
Oh, great blonde beast. Great big imbecile.
Oh, it seems you're getting jealous again. Why, Gabriel, how refreshing. Kiss me.
I won't. Don't be an idiot. I tell you, I won't stand.
Don't.
I won't endure being made a fool of behind my back.
Don't.
If I thought for 1 second, well, I'd leave you instantly.
Do.
What? Remember, I've warned you.
Who? That for your warning. When I brought Lucy to the studio, you didn't hesitate to start right in casting your spells and under my nose.
But she's necessary to my work.
Oh, stuck! The old excuse. You've said that about every one of them. It's your own love of being adored. That's the real reason. Don't think I'm jealous. Run along and amuse yourself. I don't mind.
You don't.
Not a bit. But you have to let me have my own little fling.
Little fling? You mean out loud, Draven?
Perhaps. He appeals to me terrifically, physically. And I'm sure he has a good mind, too.
Well, I must say, your tastes are very low. And am I to submit while you make a monkey of me in this fashion?
I've had to. It'll do you good to know how a monkey feels.
I'll tell you, I'll leave you flat at the first
So
inkling.
long then. Farewell, my beloved. Aren't you going to kiss me goodbye?
You're an empty-headed nincompoop.
Empty-headed nincompoop. Oh my, don't you look a dear today? Have you been here long? I was out taking a stroll in the garden with Mother. Mother? Oh, where is she? Never mind. I'll find her. I must see her. She's a dear. Ta-ta.
Leah was right. You are beautiful today, as ever.
Have you brought your poems with you?
Yes. But I won't bore you with them yet a while.
Bore? Well, that's unkind of you to say when you know how deeply I admire them.
Life is the most beautiful poem of all, if we can make it so. Let me simply breathe, live here in the same room with you for an eternal moment or so. That would be more wonderful a poem than any I.
Well, I'm afraid you'd soon find it very tiresome.
It would be heaven. I'm weary of reading, writing, thinking. I want to feel, to live a poem. I want to sit and let my soul drink in your beauty and forget everything else.
Oh, Sir Poet, but you mustn't. If you're not in the mood for poetry, then you must talk. You see, I am lonely, and you are the only one who understands my solitude. I cannot talk to the others. They live in another world. And you are the only one who loves the things I love.
And how can I thank you for feeling that?
Oh, no, it is I who should thank you.
No, princess.
But yes, well, you do not mock my longings and dreams with the old threadbare platitudes. My life seemed so futilely hopeless, and I was so alone until you came. When I was mortally bored with everything.
Oh, I know how you feel. Crushed in, tied down by the petty round of family life. Do you think I haven't mentally rebelled against the same bonds? Suffered the same irritating restraints as you? You don't know.
But you're not married. It's hardly the same.
Oh, yes, of course. In that sense, you're right. Nevertheless...
But I thought your relationship with Leo was ideally happy.
What is ideal in this miserable existence? I was born to be unhappy, I suppose. All poets are. And I must achieve my punishment with the rest.
So you're not happy?
Happiness? What is it? A mirage? A reality? I don't know. I see it before me now, within my reach and yet so far from me. Guarded, withheld by every damnable convention in the world. But I'm talking about myself. What do I matter? Dear God, what means a poet more or less? I am used to suffering. But you must not. You are too good, too wonderful, too beautiful to know anything but joy. Your life must express itself only in growth, in beauty, like a flower.
Well, I'm afraid you have much too high an opinion of me. I'm not what you'd believe. I'm simply a discontented, morbid, spoiled child, perhaps as my mother thinks.
Oh, how can she misunderstand you so? Why shouldn't your fine, spiritual, inner nature revolt against all this sordidness, all this bourgeois style? At least I understand you. Do I not?
Yes, you are the only one who does.
If only you would let me help you.
But you have so much already.
If only you felt that someone from without could come into your life and take you away to the mountaintops, to the castles in the air, to the haunt of brave dreams where life is joyous, free, and noble. If only you felt the need for such a person.
Perhaps I do.
Let me be the one Your very presence fills me with strength. For you, I could do anything. Everything. Can't you hear the secret in my heart? Don't you know the song my soul has been singing ever since I first looked into your eyes? I love you, Lucy. Don't you know that I love you?
I beg your pardon! Hello, Adams. I didn't know you were here.
Just got here. Leo and I, a moment ago. Where is Leo, by the way? She's always disappearing like that. Must be in the garden. I'll go and find her, if you'll excuse me.
No, certainly. Lucy,
Yes?
don't you think this is going a little too far?
What?
I mean, you know, in my own house.
I'm glad you recognize the fact that it's your house and not mine.
You know I didn't mean that.
But I mean it.
But what I mean is, I don't understand.
No! That's the tragedy of it. You don't understand.
You're not fair, Lucy.
Fair. And do you think you were fair after the scene created a moment ago?
I don't see as how I made any scene. I think I held myself in pretty well, considering the circumstances.
Considering the circumstances.
Yes! A dirty little
What
cat.
circumstances are you referring to?
Oh, Lucy, you have to acknowledge it's pretty hard on me to come down here and find that little puppy licking your hand.
Don't be vulgar.
Very well. Kissing your hand.
And what of that? Gabriel is one of my dearest friends, and
You can't deny that he was making love to you right in under my nose, the insolent scribbler!
I deny your right to talk to me in this manner.
I am not blaming you. I know you don't realize what he is, or you wouldn't stand for him a minute. I know his kind. Making love to every woman he sees. Getting off a lot of poetic slush that sounds good to them. And the worst part of it is, all the romantic fools thinks it's genuine.
So that's what you think I am. A romantic fool?
I never said you were one of them.
I
always-
don't care to hear your excuses. Besides, what does it matter? I tell you quite frankly, Gabriel was making love to me.
Of course he was. He does to everyone. I've heard all about it.
Don't try to revenge yourself by repeating the cheap scandal of your stupid friends. Besides, how could they ever know the real Gabriel?
But that is just what they do know. The real Gabriel.
I prefer to rely on my own judgment and not on theirs. I don't believe his words, but my own intuition.
And thinking he was serious, you permitted this?
Yes.
But why? Why? Don't you love me?
I don't know.
You don't know? Surely you can't. You don't love him!
You don't know.
The miserable little shrimp! I've got a notion to break him in half!
Leo should see you now. She'd think you were the great blonde beast. You have no right to ask me if I love Gabriel or anyone else. You should rely on my frankness to tell you of my own free will.
No, right? No, I'm only your husband.
Husband. You know that word has no meaning to me.
Well, it has to me. You see, I love you.
You're honorably bound by the contract you signed.
That was all foolishness!
Maybe it was to you, but it wasn't to me. But to me, it was the only thing that was binding. Our being married in the regular sense is meaningless to me. If I find out about Gabriel, I will leave with him in that instant.
Lucy, please.
No, Tom, it's no use. I advise you to reread the contract you signed as a man of honor. And after you do so, I think you'll have a better understanding of the circumstances of our lives together. Until you do that, I'd rather not discuss the matter with you further.
I remember I'm allowed the same liberty of action as you are by that agreement. I haven't forgotten that.
Certainly you are. Why do you ask?
Well, I mean, maybe it's time I made use of some of my freedom.
You may do as you please.
Too hot for you outside.
What's the matter, Tom? Even if I couldn't read you like a book, I've seen Gabriel and I've seen Lucy, and I know something unpleasant has occurred. What was it?
Nothing much. Only that I came down here to get something and I found that little insect
Yes?
holding her hand and kissing it.
Is that all? Oh, that's a favorite mannerisms of Gabriel's, I believe. It's so romantic and gives one such an air. Why, he kissed my hand out in the garden not 10 minutes ago.
Oh, it was the way he was doing it.
And what happened afterward?
Nothing.
Now, Tom, surely you can confide in me?
Oh, well, he ran off as fast as he could, and then Lucy and I had a regular row.
Your first row?
Yes.
What? Not one on your honeymoon?
No.
The first row is always a blow. I remember mine the day after my marriage. So you see, you're lucky. Oh, the 10th won't be so bad. And the 100th, not to mention the 1000th. Poof, mere puffs of wind ruffling the surface.
It's serious to me.
And I'll be serious too. But you must answer my questions. Did you tell Lucy that you objected to this Gabriel?
Certainly I did. I've stood it long enough. He's around the house more than the cat. Wherever I go, I find him. If I start to sit down in a chair, I discover he's in it. I can't see Lucy alone for a minute. I have to sit and listen to his everlasting poems. It's got to stop.
Well, you're on the wrong tack. I made the same mistake myself this morning. I became irritated because Lucy kept quoting his banal epigrams on this hot day. So I allowed myself a few disparaging remarks about the gentleman. It's foolish. I shouldn't have done it. You shouldn't either. We ought to know better.
I know what you preached to me the night before we were married. And I'm trying to live by your plan religiously. A lot of good it's done.
Well, you're ungrateful. If it wasn't for my advice, I think your first quarrel would have taken place 10 minutes after leaving the church instead of 3 months later.
It's too humiliating. I can't give in all the time.
But you must if you want your own way.
No, there is a limit to everything. Why, last night, I went up to the bathroom and I discovered him there shaving with my razor.
Oh. Seems we both made a frightful mess of things today. Lucy will make Gabriel the leading issue after this out of pure defiance.
Well, I can't knuckle down now, not after our row.
What did Lucy have to say in answer to your objections?
She referred me to that silly agreement I was foolish enough to sign.
You didn't put it that way to her.
Yes, I did. Only stronger.
Oh, this is frightful. Why did you do it? The agreement of agreements. Lucy's masterpiece of free, unfettered radicalism, and you dared to cast slurs on it? Huh. What did you say in heaven's name?
Well, I told her that if she were going to continue using her guaranteed by agreement liberties in the way that she has been, that maybe it was about time I made use of some of my own along the same lines.
You did? Tom, it's an inspiration. Oh, I have underestimated your wiles.
I only meant it as a bluff.
A bluff? Indeed not. It's exactly what you must do.
What do you mean?
Now I remember something which ought to be valuable to us, and it's right in line with your idea.
My idea? Certainly you don't think I have any intention of carrying out that foolish threat of mine.
But you must. Of course, I mean you must pretend to, you great baby.
Oh. I see.
Did Lucy act taken back when you asserted your right to bestow your affections elsewhere?
She didn't seem very pleased.
Then it will be all plain sailing. There. That's settled.
Yes. What's settled?
Why, that you're to fall in love with Leo.
Leo?
Leo, Leonora, the Nietzsche lady. Gabriel's Leo. You shall be her great blonde beast.
But I don't see why Leo.
Well, for many reasons. First, you like her, don't you?
Yes, but I've never thought of her in that light.
Of course you didn't, silly boy. I assure you I've no suspicions regarding you whatever. The second reason is revenge. You'll be getting back at Gabriel. It will hurt his pride dreadfully, and I know he'll be infernally jealous.
I'd like to make him sweat.
And the third reason I'm not going to tell you. You wouldn't believe it, and I've no proof to offer you. It's just what you'd call a hunch of mine, but I know that it will turn out to be the best reason of all.
Granting my willingness to carry out my part, what makes you think Leo will fall in with this idea?
Why, she's just perishing to start a flirtation with you. Are you blind? She'll think it's the greatest lark.
But is all of this fair to Lucy?
It's the only way I can see to bring her back to earth and get her to take up the business of marriage seriously. She'll never realize the worth of her good fortune until she sees it slipping from her.
Well, if you think it best, I'll try it.
Do. And I'll let you know from the inside how things are developing. Oh, I need fresh air after all this intrigue. It must be nearly lunchtime. I'll go and tell them.
I'll go check on lunch. Ta-ta!
Well, there's my little light of love now.
Oh, I'm not interrupting anything, am I? Everywhere I go, I seem to be one too many.
Certainly not, my dear.
Gabe's in the garden doing the book reading scene from Francesca da Rimini with Lucy, and they treated me as if I were a contagious disease. What time is it? How long before lunch?
10 minutes or so?
Oh, and I have time to take a bath.
A bath in 10 minutes.
I just hop in and out. There's never any hot water where we live. Is there plenty of hot water here?
I think so.
And towels?
I hope so.
Oh, I say, I forgot. I should have asked you, shouldn't I? May I please use your honorable bathtub?
It is at your disposal.
I'll walk and tell them how late it's getting to be. If Lucy is going to the concert with you, she ought to get ready.
Perhaps you had better tell Lucy I'm not sure whether I can go with her or not.
Very well. I'll tell her.
Oh, that's right, you are going to a concert, aren't you? Don't you think you're a bore on a day like this?
Yes, I emphatically do.
Then don't go.
But I've practically promised Lucy.
Ah, she won't mind. Let her take Gabe. He pretends he just dotes on the new music. There'll be a pair of them. One ought to suffer for one's poses, don't you think?
Yes, I do. But how shall I spend the afternoon?
Well, come with me.
Where to?
Well, I have to drop in an exhibition for a few moments, but it won't take any longer than that. You do like paintings anyway, don't you?
Some paintings.
I say, don't be bourgeois. Come with me and you'll see enough art to talk about with the country folk for years. Don't look so glum. It won't take long. You can take me to the Lafayette afterwards and we'll have an absinthe together. I'll spot you. I've got 70 cents. We can get quite spiffy on that.
It's a go. I'm with you.
Ta-ta then. I'm off for my dip. I say, I've got nice hair, haven't you? Well, au revoir, Long Beast. See you later.
That Leo is a devil of a tease, isn't she?
Yes, I can remember when you considered her a freak.
Yes. It's strange how erroneous one's first impressions sometimes are. Now that I know her better, I like her more than any of your friends.
So I perceive.
Hey?
Nothing. Mother says you're not sure whether you're going to go to the concert with me or not. It's a little late to be backing out, isn't it?
Oh, you can easily find a substitute. Take Gabe. He'll pretend to enjoy that stuff better than I could. Here are the tickets.
Do you have to go back to the office?
Oh, no, I'm through with work for the day.
Well, then why do you break this engagement with me?
Well, you know I don't care for concerts. I'd only be bored to death if I went.
Well, won't you find it just as boring to stay in this place?
Well, for you it might be. You see, our tastes differ. In any case, I don't intend to remain here. I feel like a little relaxation.
A baseball game.
No.
Then what? If I'm not too inquisitive.
A regular lark with Leo. She's taking me to an exhibition of
Well,
paintings.
that
someplace.
will be fun for you.
Oh, yes, it will. She promises to explain them all to me. I've often wanted a clearer comprehension of what some of those chaps were driving at, and Leo, being one of them herself, can put me on to all the inside stuff.
Well, you must have changed to take such a sudden interest in art.
I have.
That's funny. I haven't noticed.
Well, I haven't let you see it. I was sure you would misunderstand me.
Are you trying to be funny at my expense?
Heaven forbid, I mean what I say. Don't think you're the only misunderstood person about this house. I have aspirations of my own, which you will never understand. Only I'm resigned to my fate.
You are trying to be humorous at my expense.
You'll have to forgive me for feeling cheerful. I can't help it. Leo has promised to take me to the Lafayette, treat me to absinthe, tea me at her studio, and I just feel so lightheaded at the prospect of such a bust-up.
Would you like to go to the concert with me, Gabriel?
Oh, well,
Oh, but
I
you
don't
must.
think-
I can't, and Lucy insists on someone being bored with her.
In that case, I'd love to, Lucy. Mrs. Drayton.
Then that's fixed, and Leo and I can have our bust-up.
Leo.
Yes, she and I are going to have a real party together.
Where is Leo?
Well, upstairs, taking a bath.
Bath?
Yes, I gave her freedom of the tub. Do you know there is never any hot water at your place?
Well, I'd better go up and tell her to hurry, otherwise we'll be late for the concert.
I'll go up and tell her.
No. We couldn't put you to that trouble. The three of you go on in and start lunch. I'll run up and tell her.
No, I say, this is a nice house. Why, there isn't any soap up there. I want some soap.